My dad actually ended up showing up. I had black and blue eyes all over me. It was the first time he had beaten me up. And he had left me on the side of the road. And it
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Becca doll back in the building. I'm sitting outside. It's such nice weather. And I have been putting off recording this video for such a long time. I feel like the security guard's about to ask me to leave. Thank goodness he's not. I'm here having one of my excess energy drinks so I can power through this conversation that I have been putting off. I kept telling my editor that I was going to record it, and it's such a sensitive subject. I just had a lot of trouble with it, but we're going to give it a try. Anyways, these are 0 carbs, 0 sugar, adaptogenic herbs. This one is dragon fruit. I love these. I live by these. You can always find the link to my store in the description box, as well as all my other social media accounts. So if you're not following me, head on over, because you're not going to want to miss what's coming up. Anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, I have yet to record anything about this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, and I have been significantly putting it off. Why? Because it is very traumatizing and a very sensitive subject to go back and talk about domestic violence. But I'm not going to sit back and ignore it, because it was a huge part of my life. And, you know, I kind of want to tell you my take on everything. I'll be very honest with you. I did not sit there and watch the whole trial. It is insane to me that people find it entertaining. There's nothing entertaining about it. From my understanding, it's the biggest, most public defamation lawsuit that's ever happened, and that's why it attracted so much attention. I'm not very much into famous people, so you asked me who was Pirates of the Caribbean, I wouldn't have known it was Johnny Depp, so I definitely didn't know who Amber Heard was, but that's neither here nor there. It's gone public. Everybody's talking about it, so I want to give you my take on this. So, domestic violence was something that was introduced to my life at an extremely young age. And I'm going to touch on a few things here, which I will have to probably go back and record videos to kind of like break down the stories of what happened. I'm sure you guys are going to have tons of questions. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification buttons, like this video, because you don't want to miss it when I do break it down, because it's going to get juicy. So, domestic violence appeared in my life at an extremely young age. This is a whole story within itself, which is exactly what I'm talking about, why you got to stick around. But I was just a little kid at the skating rink, and there was an 18-year-old that kind of preyed on me and stuff, and there was a lot of manipulation and different types of abuse without it getting physical. But I think because abuse was such a big part of my life when I was super young, and I am an empath, that what I have learned is when you go through trauma at a young age, you continue those behaviors, if you know what I mean, and they carry on from one relationship to the next. So the first time a boyfriend like really hurt me and decked me in the face, like, I mean, he would beat the crap out of me. He's left me on the side of the road in the city of Atlanta because I had introduced him as a friend. But to me, we were just friends at the time. To him, it was more serious. He ended up beating my butt that night. And my dad actually ended up showing up. I had black and blue eyes all over me. It was the first time he had beaten me up. And he had left me on the side of the road, and it was like near Centennial Park, so it was just super unsafe. My dad actually found me inside, and I'm like 18 or 19, my condo, like the door, completely passed out. And I just really didn't think much about it then, and it did not affect me. Maybe because I got out sooner, Maybe because of my age, I'm not sure. And I don't really remember a lot of the details of the relationship. And it was a very different type of abuse, because this is somebody who would beat me up. I wouldn't be able to go to work and things like that, and he would cater to me and take care of me, and so on and so on. And then that behavior repeated itself with my kid's father. Now, he's the type of person, he would never purposely hurt anybody. However, he has struggled with some things himself. And me and him, he would kind of like steal money from me. He had a bad addiction. And that's his story. So that's what's made this so complicated, because I really just don't want to spill the beans on somebody else. Like, if it's not my story to tell, but it is my story because it was my experience. The whole relationship really started with a lie, and I will go through that whole relationship when I'm ready and break it down to you, but I had no clue who this person was. I thought he got up and went to work every day. That was a lie. I had no clue he was dating someone and carried on a whole family relationship with her till she came to my house when Jalen was a couple months old. So for those of you who don't understand how women stay in domestic violent relationships, it takes a hold of your mind. It does not always start out like that. They groom you just like a predator would groom a woman into trafficking and things of that nature. So that's a little background. Ours ended up getting into restraining orders. I would go back. I ended up pregnant with another baby. Abuse never stopped. He actually had a baby with another woman at the same time. So Jazzy has a sister that's a month apart. So the psychological abuse and everything. And I was not innocent by any means. And I told the court system that. I did not get on a stand like Amber Heard and just bold-faced lie. Actually, the DA, the cops, whatever, would write up these reports, and it wouldn't be exactly what I told them or what happened. It was kind of exaggerated, obviously, for them to win the case, because I know, at least in the state of Georgia, they pick up domestic violence cases and they carry on with them. So because it is so common for women to go back. The statistics on it are insane. So we did go through the court case and stuff, because what happened is people were starting to see marks on my body. Now, he didn't just boldly punch me in my face and things like that, but he would pick me up from work. I would think he's cheating. He has substances in his body. I've been drinking from work. He takes my money. We get in some sort of argument, and then it gets physical, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. Once you cross those boundaries, and no woman or man should put their hands on the other person, you can never come back from that. Trust me. Rest in peace to all the people and women who have lost their lives. Eventually, it got to a point where a gun was pulled on me. Other parents were finding out, and I had a choice to make. I either protected myself and my kids, or my kid, Jalen, so that she was not taken away from me, even though I ended up going back. So it was harder to get out than it was to stay. I was so depressed when I had to do this, because that was the love of my life. All I wanted was a good family. I had fought for it so hard. And all I wanted was to just have a happy family. But that's not what he wanted. I was growing up. He was staying the same, and we just completely outgrew each other. So getting out was the beginning of my depression, anxiety. That's kind of when I went on to medicine, and I realized what PTSD was, and I still deal with things to this day from the PTSD from that relationship, because he would wake me up in the middle of the night and want to fight. It was just a hot mess. So we'll have to break these crazy stories down, but I just wanted to compare it to the case, and let's just call it what it is. Those two were both toxic for one another, just as well as me and my significant other for many, many years. We were not good for each other whatsoever. There was definitely substance abuses when it came with Johnny Depp and her. I totally believe, but I think that this all had to do with money. For one thing, when it came down to the trial, they didn't even want to put me in the stand because they knew I was not going to be able to do it. I did not want him to get in trouble. I just wanted to stand up for myself, and I just wanted the chaos to end. Little did I know that even when they were done prosecuting him and he didn't get prison time, he ended up getting caught up in the system because he had multiple charges. He's a felon with multiple felonies. He ended up getting held up in the system. But if you talk to him, he will say it is all me. And it brings me back to my point of empaths and narcissists. Now I know label. You hear me to say this all the time. On my journey, I've learned that there are labels to things. So he's a narcissist. I'm an empath. And I've worked on myself. He is not. So he probably has no clue what these things mean. I 1000% believe Miss Heard is a narcissist. There are times that I had videoed things, but I did not take them public or even give them to the courts. When I made a decision I wanted out, I really did stick to it. And then once he got out and he was in drug court and sober, I fell for it again. I went back, I had a baby, and now I'm stuck raising 2 kids by myself. He hasn't changed one bit. He's still a narcissist. It is what it is. He doesn't remember what he did because he was so intoxicated, and I truly believe that. Like, honest to God, I really believe that. He doesn't remember everything, but a narcissist will also convince themselves that of their own lives. And he definitely just like totally fits that profile of a person that does that. So some things that I saw in the trial that I found interesting were, when you go through something like that, you are not wanting to go to trial or even carry something like that out. You do not want to expose it. It's extremely embarrassing. A lot of people turned their back on me because I went back and got pregnant. They took it as a slap in the face. So how she really just wanted to make this a public thing and smear his name, and no consideration for how it was going to affect his career, how it was going to affect his family and children. And you can hear in the videos where she's like instigating him, and the amount of videos that she had recorded, it's just very blatant that it was a setup. When I would get into these altercations with my ex, and it was mutual, like we were literally getting in fist fights, but I was literally getting in fist fights over him like damaging my house or harassing me or stealing my money or stealing my things. And I can go into some details of stories, and maybe I will do a series on it. I don't know, it's really, really hard to talk about. It was very traumatic for me. I still jump at certain things. I wait, like I said, I have bad dreams. I have to take medication. I have to work on myself daily. Like today, my anxiety was just out of control. But obviously, I overcame it because I'm here videotaping for you guys. And I'm going to hit the gym after this, even though it's midnight. But as she's testifying, you can like just see certain things. So you can see like when she is describing him doing something, right? Like he grabbed her hair, like she did it like she grabbed his hair. If she was describing it, she would have been like, he grabbed my hair. But there's no way I could have gone from detail to detail, especially that in front of all those people and in front of it nationally. And I just truly believe that A, they were horrible for each other. They never should have been together. But she definitely was out for his money. She never donated the money. She was caught in so many lies. And another thing is that with my ex, there was, if me and him did, say, go to court, there's going to be many women that would have came out and said, oh, I dealt with the same thing, because they've told me. They've called me in the middle of their fights because there was a lot of infidelity, like, come get your boyfriend, blah, 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 where they were dealing with the same things. And I'm sure whoever he's dating now is still dealing with those things, because he's one of those people that can look you in your face and lie to you. He genuinely does not care who he hurts and how he affects them. And he's just one of those people. And I pray that you never come into contact with that. So my advice to you youngins, when you see those red flags, A, read about it. read about it, learn about it when you start dating. And when you see those kind of behaviors and red flags, try to stop it as quickly as possible. Once you do realize that you are a victim or in a domestic violence relationship, let me tell you something. Once it goes physical, it goes out of control, and you will get to a point where you cannot undo what you did. Now, there's a lot of people, and his whole story is, you put me in jail, you put me in jail, you put me in jail. And every day I think about it, and I feel guilt. But literally the same day that I have that thought of guilt, something reminds me that I did the right thing. For instance, someone very close to me just lost her best friend. They're much older than me, and her boyfriend ended up beating her to death. And so anytime I have those guilty thoughts, I'm like, what if you did? Because then I didn't have as much education on prisons and how horribly black people are treated and all that. And I'm so grateful that he didn't go to prison. He didn't have to fight for his life. He only went to county. And he still continued to manipulate me. I mean, there were times where I didn't even have money and I would put it on his books. He doesn't recall any of that. It was probably one of many girls who he was doing that to. And that's kind of, I think, how he manipulated his way through prison. Plus, he is kind of somewhat of a leader, as I am. Where people are going to fall in line and like not really mess with us. So those are a few things that I saw. But when you truly are a victim of domestic violence, that's something most people cherish and have to live with, and that's not something that they want to go and talk about. And I definitely never would have lied about one single thing, because how would I live with myself if I lied to ruin someone's life, ruin their career, or anything of the sorts? I was very honest with the police about my participation in the physical violence, and I feel like I am just as guilty. However, I know that I did not go into the relationship wanting that, and I did not ever want to deal with that. And a lot of times I was forced into situations where I had to stand up for myself. So, putting myself in Amber Heard's shoes, I can't even relate, sis. You were busted in so many lies. When someone is abusive, other people are going, there's no way that he had all these people that had never experienced abuse with him. Where, like I said, with my previous relationships, I'm sure there is a ton of people who have been involved in domestic violence with him. So that's my little take on everything. I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure you stick around. I am going to start a series and break these things down. I've got to update you guys on my spiritual journey and our next vacation that we've been on in Atlanta. We've been like in the old Fourth Ward area, Beltline. Like, I love it here, and I am vlogging my apartment search. And I'm just excited. Who would have thought? You see, this is why you need to subscribe, because this will be my next video. Who would have thought that all that trauma I was going through was going to lead me to the things that I had been manifesting since I was a child? And when I say child, like 14 years old. I'm literally living the lifestyle that I had dreamed up and written down. So control your thoughts. Do what's best for you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Much love. Peace.